Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting the podcast by saying thank you. I feel so very blessed with this podcast, the people it's getting to, and the message I receive on a weekly basis. My objective was to simplify spirituality, and I love the fact that it's doing that. I truly appreciate you allowing us to guide you on your journey, and truly hope you get what you need from this episode. I am an Akashic record reader, I'm a Akashic trainer, I'm a podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. I love what I get to do. I get to guide people on their journey. I get to guide people to release the programming they're holding on to become their authentic selves and to shine their beautiful light. I feel so very, very blessed with what I get to do. But also as part of this podcast, I get to interview some amazing, beautiful guests. And I'm excited to have Priya on as a guest this episode. Priya, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and excited. I started meditating when I was a teenager. I suffered a lot. I traveled the world, and for 25 years, I'm working with people. I don't call it work at all. Interaction and connection is my life and my love. I do retreat. I do cooperation retreat. I train people every year to do my work. I have a beautiful center in San Francisco, the Mind Heart Center, and I'm a corner in a yoga studio. And I just want to spread balance, and calmness and happiness and beauty in the world and help people to see that because it's around us. So I'm excited to be here with you today.
Beautiful. You guide people to see the beauty around them. I love it. There is so much beauty around us, and what we focus on expands. And it's interesting what you say about work. My mentors used to say work is play with a purpose, right?
Exactly.
Is when you're doing what you love to do, it doesn't feel like work. And I spent many years in the corporate world, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed my time there, but there just came a point where it doesn't resonate anymore. So no, I love that. So you mentioned on your journey, 25 years meditation. I wonder if you can give us, I feel like right now we're being pushed to truly become our authentic selves. I feel like everybody's going through some kind of reset, rebirth. And I love meditation. It allows me to be at peace and to feel connected to the energies and the vibrations around me. But I also realize that I can't bypass the human experience, if that makes sense. So I feel like meditation gives me a basis to be present, to have and be present during the human experience. But I remember back in the day, I could spend hours in meditating, and it was almost like I wasn't escaping the human experience, but I was kind of just enjoying that space in a different realm, so much more than the human experience. But I realize now the human experience, this is what I signed up for, right? My soul has signed up for this human experience. I can't bypass the human experience. So I'd love to know more about your journey in terms of how meditation has helped you, but also how it's helped you to stay grounded and be of this planet.
Exactly, because the human experience is not easy. We are suffering. And also the Buddha said there is a suffering we'll experience anyway just by being here. For example, being sick is not pleasant, or loss. If it will be in the right order, we will bury our parents and grandparents and it's painful. Or being far from people you love, or being close to people you don't like, like somebody at work or a neighbor or your mother-in-law, I don't know. So basically there is a suffering we'll experience, but 80% of the suffering we create. And there is also objective suffering. You see so much pain and loss and fires around. How do you stay above or with that, not above even, with that? And the meditation helped me so much. I feel the gifts of meditation and the fruits of meditation almost in my daily life. And in the beginning, meditating was very hard for me. I started when I was a teenager with all kinds. I did martial art, kung fu, vipassana, transcendental. I did a lot of kinds of meditations, traveling the world also. And just the fact, just to stop everything and be with myself was painful. Because when you sit in the beginning, I wasn't flexible in my body. I couldn't sit like that. at school in Israel, you sit on chairs, wooden chairs. You don't sit, unfortunately, on the floor. And also mentally, my mind was judging me, blaming me. I was very hard with myself, very hard, perfectionist. And emotionally, I had a lot of pain in my body. And I couldn't analyze that, of course, like that, but sitting was unbearable. And slowly, after I think my journey showed me that just to sit is not enough and it's not easy. You need to clean, right, the pain in the body, the pain body. So I did a lot of somatic work. I can talk about it later also, to clean the body for me to be able to sit with myself. And then Zen helped me to tame the mind. And eventually I could meditate, what it means to have gaps between the thoughts and moments of connection.
So beautiful. And we are going to experience one of Priya's meditations at the end of this podcast. So I'd encourage you to stay and truly experience that. And so much of what you said, I feel like we can talk about for hours. But I guess the first question that comes to mind, because you said at the beginning, a lot of people say I can't meditate. And I've had this conversation with so many people in terms of, for me, meditation is like a muscle. You can't go to the gym and get a six pack all the time. So you've got to do something for over a period of time to truly allow yourself to be. And for me, meditation is not about being quiet. It's about quieting the mind so you can listen to your heart and soul. You can listen to your guides. You can hear the messages. But again, I feel like a lot of people get frustrated because they go in meditation, they don't hear anything and they don't see anything and they don't. For me, I guess if I was to summarize meditation, yes, I feel the connection to my guides. There is times I hear messages. But overall, it's a time for me just to be quiet and be present, be present inside me.
Exactly.
And I love doing it because it's kind of even those that are not watching the YouTube, it's like when I talk about meditation, I automatically close my eyes and I go to a space of just peace.
So for beautiful. You, it's easy. You are connected already. Most of the people come to me. It's like I was in the beginning, struggling to sit, and all your parts are saying, I don't want to sit meditation. Yeah. The mind is saying you have so many things to do, right? Folding laundry, answering email, working. You cannot just waste your time for half an hour a day, or not 15, and even not 5. And the heart prefer not to sit, prefer to dance, to see friends, to do arts, to sleep, to eat. But so many of our parts will try to prevent us from sitting. So what will be your willpower? And this is the question, because my willpower was very, very strong. I suffered a lot and I wanted to stop the suffering. I knew it's not from outside, because my life outside was perfect. People said you sell it as a movie. Like I had everything I wanted. I wasn't happy, and I knew that I just couldn't live like that. So I feel that not everybody needs such an extreme willpower, but you need the willpower. Why to sit? Why to do that? And also the guidance which meditation to choose, because in the beginning I was very confused. When you travel the world, everything looks amazing, and you try everything. I was like a supermarket of spirituality. And one person told me, you will see colors in meditation. So I looked for colors for months. I wasted time looking for which color, no colors in meditation. So a lot of confusion in my path, and also a lot of clarity. But for me, the meditation, and I'm not saying it's the best meditation, but for sure it's challenging. It's just sitting, and trying to quiet the mind and to find your inner guide, to help yourself. Because if you listen to guided meditation, it's great, and I'm using it with my kids. Guided meditation is amazing. You take a break, somebody is telling you a story, but when you learn how to guide yourself, it will be your gift forever.
That'll be your gift forever. How powerful. And it's I resonate so much with what you say, because what I recommend, there's 3 things I recommend when I start working with people. Mirror work to truly fall in love with yourself. Journaling is a great way of releasing, and then 10-minute silence. 10 minutes silence every day. And it's not, I'll always recommend, because again, people say, well, I can't sit quietly. My mind's too busy. But again, it's a muscle, right? You can't sit down for one time and what everyone does is when you sit down and you try and be silent, when a thought comes through, you get annoyed. I can't even sit for 2 seconds without a thought. And if a thought comes through, let it come, let it go, let it come, let it go, let it come, let it go. And I always recommend do this for 21 days. If you do something consistently, you'll start to truly feel a connection. And it's, for me, it has such a big impact on so many areas of my life. What it allows me to do is to respond rather than react. It allows me, whatever's happening in my world, if I'm triggered, it allows me to just breathe and just, okay, how is this serving me? When we react, it's primal, right? It's that kind of, it's that energetic shift. It's that, but when we meditate, we choose to respond. And when you respond, you're actually making a choice. That for me is, meditation is so multifactored in terms of it allows me to connect with my guides, it allows me to connect with the energies around me, but it helps in all aspects of my life.
Exactly.
So I love it.
I'm trying also people that hear us and are not meditating, not to be, not to blame yourself and not to be hard with yourself, because I mean, sometimes it's just very challenging to sit. So I recommend to do it after something else that you like to do. If you like to hike and you're hiking and you're sweating, then sit meditation. If you like to run, then sit meditation. Or if you just want to do some anger work on a pillow or something, or dancing, after that, sit. Because I feel that after something like that, it's easier to sit and quiet the mind because you're already connected to your body. And I always try with my students not to let them feel, oh, they didn't do their homework, even though they know that I really believe in daily practice. And I think it was my biggest master, meditation. I'm very soft because I don't want them to add that the meditation will add suffering, right? So how we can combine it in our life in a way that will be easier.
Yeah.
This is also a question, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me, going for a walk, going for a drive. There's so many, I feel like I get into a meditative state when I do things like that too, right? It's like, do the traditional meditation of sitting and being silent with yourself. I agree that's important. But also when you go for a walk in nature, if you're present, if you see the beauty in the flowers, the grass that you're walking on, the fresh air, the sun, for me, that takes me into a meditative state too. And even going for a drive, just not letting the, other drivers get in the way. If somebody's overtaking me, let them overtake. I feel like you can get into a meditative state with some of their activities in life if you're present.
Exactly.
So what would
Listening
your
to
advice
music.
be? Yeah, again, we talked about music before we began.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to people when because there's so much noise in the world right now? What would your advice be to people to truly quiet the noise and be present in whatever there's going on in their world?
This is it. It's the month of love. And you talked about reaction and posing in a way, waiting and connection. So you can bring meditation into your relationships, into your life. Meditation is to be present, right? Like you said. So, for example, looking at people's eyes, right? When you rush, usually when I go to even to the supermarket, I order something in person. I'm not just doing it automatically. I like to know the person, what he's going through, not just how are you? I'm fine. I'm really into people. I love people.
I
Even when
love
I go
it.
to vacation, my husband said, "Why you working vacation?" I said, "I'm not working." I just
But it's
this
not
is
work, right? It's play with the
it's not
purpose, right?
because then you really love life because it's real. It's not just finishing and accomplishing and doing as much as possible a day. Um so basically with your kids, with your partner, at work, don't just try to finish the task or to get what you want. We have agendas, just connect. And when you connect, you can see how they feel that day. You know, when they enter the room, how was their day in school? How was the day at work? A phone can really separate. I want to talk about that today as well. I heard somebody, I don't remember who, saying if you are sitting in a cafe or with someone and there is a phone on the table, even if you don't touch it, it brings separation, because the person is already a little bit stressed of, are you present or not? So I heard it, somebody said that, and I took it immediately. I'm a very good student. And I took, and this week I put it in the bag, also that will not be attempting, to use it. So I feel that we can give love, and love can be romantic love or love with others, or giving time to ourselves and loving ourselves, just a little bit more attention and
I
meditation.
mean, yeah, and that's, being present is such a gift. You said it, right? It's like if you're having a conversation with somebody, if you've got your phone there, then are you distracted by the phone? People recognize when you're talking to them and you're present in the conversation. Because it's that, if you're having a conversation and people are, whoever you're talking to is thinking about what they're going to have for lunch, or, doing laundry or stuff, as you talked about earlier, then at some level, you're going to know it. Maybe you don't know it consciously as a human, but your soul knows it. So, recommendation to our listeners, have a conversation with your loved ones and be present. Don't even be focused on how you're going to respond to what they're saying. Be present in what they're saying and then respond. There's so much beauty in that. There's, active listening. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We should use them in that proportion. If you're speaking, are you speaking to be heard, or are you speaking to speak? It's really interesting when you're truly aware of why you do things. It does change things.
Beautiful.
So you
Even now,
mentioned,
it's beautiful. When I hear you, I'm not thinking about what I will say, and I could say already like 10,000 things, but I just wait. Yeah, because you're saying things that, of course, are
they
really
resonate for sure.
totally. But then, when by the time you end, I have a new idea to talk about, and this is the beauty. And I look at you, and I listen to your sound, and I feel you. It's more than just, okay, let's talk about something. It's not here. It's not only here. It's really
Yeah,
all over the
yeah.
body. Even now, if you listen to this podcast, and what do you feel in your body? What kind of energy you feel in your legs, in your belly? It can really help you be more. Um, and with my husband, we have a lot. We have a business together, so we are business partners, and we have 2 kids, and we moved to a new country 8 years ago, and like it's a lot. And what I love to do with him, is I call it the compliment circle, and he hates it. Every time I tell him, let's do it, he said, no, not today, not. But then he loves it. And it means just to sit together, alone, and to hold hands, and knees are touching. And just for a minute, I'm looking at his eyes and I'm saying, thank you for whatever comes. I love whatever I love, and it changes every month, like different things he did, different things he said. And if I need to apologize, so I'm sorry for. So, like, thankfulness, apology, there it's needed, like, and what I see in him, and then he needs to do it as well. But and it's a moment, it's a moment that really, it's basically, it takes 2 minutes. It's not more than 1 minute each, but those moments, I think, that are being present, it's really, remember that in your body.
Really interesting how having a moment, like a conversation we mentioned with a loved one, where you're just in that space, can make you feel uncomfortable. As you said, your husband resists, right? It's because it makes him feel uncomfortable in that moment. Our programming says, we've got to be busy, and being vulnerable is a weakness. But there's so much power in just being present, having a conversation, sitting on the floor, having a connection, just telling somebody I love you, just telling somebody a magic moment that you created together. There's so much power in it. You mentioned, this being February, and it's the month of love, right? And it's just, there's also so much pressure. It's like, are you in a relationship? Are you, regardless of what's happening in your world this month, what if you choose to focus on loving yourself? What if you choose to taking time out to spend in nature, to be in meditative space, maybe make a decision to have a conscious conversation with a loved one. It doesn't have to be a partner. It can be anyone in your world that you have a connection with, and take time to go to a coffee shop and put your phone in your bag or put it in your pocket, or just have a conscious conversation. What if this month you choose to do things that lift your soul, and you also choose to spread love? And if you're in a relationship, great. Then take time to nurture that relationship and be conscious of the conversations and be honest and have a deep conversation. But if you're not, I mean, love always starts with self-love anyway. If you can't spend time with you and fall in love with you, then how can you expect someone else? So even if you're in a relationship, why can't you go for a meal on your own? Why can't you go to the movies on your own and be present in your own energy and your own love, or go for a walk in the park and just be? Because it's that, when you talked about meditation earlier, if you're uncomfortable being in your own space,
Yes.
then for me, there's something inside you that's ready to heal, and you're running away from that healing. So what if in this month, you chose to spend time with you and to fall in love with you? Our current energy, as I talked about right at the beginning, feels like so much is shifting, so much is going on, and it's just the planet is going through some sort of shift, and this is a beautiful time to love you.
I
So I'm going to
totally
put you on the
agree.
spot. So Priya, what can you do? What are you choosing to do in this in at this time to truly connect with you and to fall in love with you?
I had a long period of time in my life I was alone. I decided not to have a partner because I saw that before that, all the partners was a reflection of myself, highly suffering, um, depressed, having all kind of mental illness. My partners before I met my husband and before I started the deep work was really a reflection of my problems, and it was a mess. And when I started to clean, to go deeper, um, I just fell in love with that. It was the first time in my life I invested in myself, because you go to school, you want good grades, you go to college. I went to college. I did everything by the book. I worked, and then you forget yourself, right? Or more external. So when I started to discover this world of gifts, workshop of retreats of teachers, I just felt so gifted, like thankful that gifts are coming like that. And it was really like a period of addiction for spirituality, like to try everything. And it was with myself. I didn't want to, I wanted to really to have my own path. If you travel together with a person, it doesn't matter if it's a partner or a friend, you need to be more considerate and who is taking decisions. I want me in the universe, to get the signs and just to see my path. And it was that for that, like for many years. Yeah, I saw when I traveled, people are traveling in groups or going to parties or smoking together. And I was like, there is something here to discover. My mind was helping as well because I always want to achieve, right? So what's going on? I'm missing something. And what do I need to do? And I was really not interested in a romantic love that can bring a lot of mess in your life. It takes a lot of energy. Even if it's good, you need to invest 20-30% of your time. So for people here that are singles, you're so lucky in my eyes, because you have time and you have the opportunity to reflect, to discover what you love, to discover your passion, to use all these beautiful tools and teachers around us. And I think it's also, there is a lot of pain in the world, but also there is a lot of light and wisdom in the world. And it's out there. We have the internet, it's out there. So you are lucky. And then when you'll find a partner after you heal, not 1%, but you heal the major parts, then the relationship will be better. And it starts from within, like you said. It's beautiful. I work a lot with the mind and heart inside us. This is the base of my work is the separation between the I and the self. I don't know if you want me to talk about it now. It's
Sure.
long.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I guess before we go there, what I want to kind of finish on, what are the 2 or 3 things apart from meditation you'd recommend for somebody, whether they're in a relationship or not, but truly be connected with themselves?
so first thing, to learn how to cry.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, I'm crying every day, crying for the painful things that are happening in the world, and crying from love. Yesterday I cried, and my son is 13. Why you are crying? And I said, "Oh, you know I'm a crying mother. You know me." I'm like, I'm touched easily, and my heart is open. I wasn't like that. I didn't cry in funerals. I didn't cry. I was really blocked, and I feel that to hold all that, it's a lot. So learning how to cry, and there's so many ways to learn how to do it. And babies cry a lot, they don't need pacifiers. They need to cry an hour a day.
For sure.
So we are also babies in a way. So
Yeah.
meditation, yes, but crying. And the third thing is um, to understand the story of the mind. And you said journaling before. So for me, one of the most important things is to understand when the mind was born. Um, Basically, if you see kids, they're free, small kids, toddlers. They're free to climb trees, to cry, to shout if they're angry, to dance, right, to create. And everybody are friends, and they trust the universe, and they trust people. And then something happened to us, right, to our soul, and the mind, the protector, was born. And many times we're angry at our minds, but the mind just try to protect you. And we learn how to, I'm teaching people how to be compassionate to the mind and to help the mind. For that, we need to understand when and why it was needed for the mind to take over. So the 3 things is to understand the mind, to connect to the heart and to sadness if needed, but sadness is love as well, and to sit meditation. Those are the 3 things.
I love it. I love it. It's interesting you talk about the baby, right? It's just, and I talk about being present. For me, when you're born, you're a baby, that's when you're most present. You cry, you get attention. There's that, depending on the cry, do you need food? Do you need, do you need, depending on your nappy or your diaper, depending whereabouts in the world do you need that changing, or do you need sleep? It's just, the baby's so present. It's really interesting. You talked about the programming, and I feel like we're trying to go full circle back to being present and being present in the moment. Whatever you want, you ask for in your own way. And it's interesting as a male, as a man, crying used to be perceived as negative, as weak. But actually, in this world, I mean, there's a lot of males I work with. I encourage them to cry. It's like such a great release, and I think there's so much power in it. And just, why are you holding stuff in? Because it has to come out somehow, right? So I resonate so much with what you're saying. And I interrupted you. You were going to go deep on a topic before I jumped in with the. So I'm going to hand it back to you. I can't remember what the topic was, but
Yeah, but no, I want to talk about the baby because it's interesting and it came up.
do it. Yeah.
So you said like the baby, and that when you cry, somebody came to you. So now also I'm asking people to be aware of the 6 basic needs of a baby, and take care of themselves. If you are cold or hot, if baby is cold or hot, he's crying, right? So to check a few times a day, are you cold or hot? Do you need to open a window? Do you need a shower? Do you have pain in your body? Sometimes we have pain. We sit for hours working or just to stretch, to move, to see if you have pain. If you are hungry or thirsty, so many people are not drinking enough or even not eating, not sitting and giving respect for that, for the need of the body and also what we need to eat. And if we need to go to the bathroom, because some people are holding. So those 6 needs of a baby, I'm asking my students to stop a few times a day and to check if you took care of yourself. And now, yeah.
Sorry, I was muted. That's so powerful. Just taking back to the 6 needs of the baby. Wow, that's so powerful. So, but yeah, that's beautiful. And do you remember the topic you were going to go deep on? Was that go for it?
Yeah, this is my most passionate topic is the mind heart separation. This is my language and the way I see life. Basically, we have the mind and the heart, and many teachers are talking about that, right? The thoughts, the feeling, the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine. Everybody has that inside. And then in a certain age, the mind took over and the heart was suppressed. For me, my parents divorced when I was 4. It was clear for me. I had freedom before, then the divorce in a really ugly way. The mind took over, the heart suppressed. And the first feeling that a kid feel that, or anybody, that he doesn't have freedom anymore is anger. And if it's not allowed to show anger, it boils into sadness like in a stew. And then sometimes the emotion bursts and the mind is putting back the lead until it becomes depression and despair. So people that I meet many times are depressed. It means that the mind is very strong, thinking, worrying, critical, blaming, bring confusion, fear, anxiety, and all that. And then what we do is to create a new contract, right, between those two parts, and it's possible. And the mind, is acting like a policeman, a jailer, a strict father, or a judge, but underneath there is a scared child, because it's always started from fear. We're afraid, and then we had to protect ourselves. So suddenly we are matured in one day. People said I experienced a trauma and I became matured. What does it mean? It means not to be vulnerable, not to cry freely sometimes, not to dance freely, not to express freely, to be more diligent and responsible and strong and mindy. So I'm working a lot with those two parts. And when you work with them, you can also sit meditation. Because if the noises are so strong, it's hard to sit. So usually when I do a session, it doesn't matter if it's a session in the retreat or one-on-one, or I give some attention for the mind. Then we dive into the heart, clean a little bit and express, and then we sit meditation. And the meditations are a little bit different because all the parts receive the attention.
Wow, so beautiful. It's just the terminology you use resonates so much. It's that, the human part that you mentioned. For me, that's the ego, and everyone talks about the ego and the death of the ego, and the ego is just trying to keep you safe. That human side is just trying to keep you safe. It doesn't want you to change. It doesn't want you to get hurt. It's like your protector, and I feel like you need both sides, right? I feel like right now, there's kind of the two sides to us. There's the human, the ego, and there's the spirit. There's more than that, but just if you simplify it, and I feel like the spirit, with the shift that's happening on the planet, the shift is even more ready to go. It's like the spirit's like, let's go, we're ready. We've been working many lifetimes for this, and the human's like, wait, I want to understand this change. I want to know what's going on. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And that's what's causing a lot of the conflict right now inside. But here's the thing: it's like sometimes you just need to talk to that human side, the ego side of you, and just let your ego know that you don't need protecting, that you're comfortable with the shift, and the shift is exactly what you need. And there's so much power in having a conversation with your ego and acknowledging both sides of you. If you're feeling uncomfortable about something, then acknowledge it. Don't push it down. Don't hide away. Don't run away from it. Because it's a sign, it's a signal for you to heal something. So thank you for sharing that. I really feel right now we're more conflicted internally than ever before. It's because
Beautiful
of
what you
what the
said.
shift is happening on the planet.
Yes. And then when you feel uncomfortable, I'm going to continue a little bit, you feel fear. For me, this is the compass. If I feel fear, I go forward, not back. When you travel the world and you have all the options open, how do you choose where to go? You know,
Yeah.
so for me, my compass was fear. When I felt, oh, I'm not comfortable to go there, but I'm comfortable to go there, I knew that here I have something to learn. And
Yeah.
today, this is thing to let yourself be in an uncomfortable place, and then so many things will happen.
Yeah. It's from that feeling of being uncomfortable that you grow, right? It's that what's courageous? Courageous isn't not having fear. Courageous is having fear and doing anyways, right? It's that, there's so much power in just embracing this journey and just, yeah, so powerful. There's something else I want to go back to that you talked about earlier, and it's just you mentioned that your expectations when you were learning to meditate, our expectations of what we see, how we connect with our guides, for me is also sometimes it holds us back, right? Sometimes we get frustrated because we can't see things, we can't hear things. For me, however you connect, however you meditate, whatever you see, whatever you feel is perfect for you. Comparison is the worst thing that you can do because we're all different. So I'd
Totally.
love to hear from you. Yeah. I mean, in terms of your journey, when you meditate, when you connect with your guides, what do you see? What do you feel?
So for me, like, the expectation is from the mind, right? The comparison is from the
Yeah.
mind, and the mind cannot really see. Like when the mind
The
is
mind
there
really
with,
wants to see, right? It really wants
yeah,
to see. That's the
and the
point.
one, it's a trap, right? It's a spiritual trap that I want to be enlightened. I want to be enlightened. I want to know who I am. And you see it a lot in all kind of Zen communities, all kind of spiritual communities. Like, I'm here, you are here, and so the mind, for me, I always had a little bit of stepping back from that. I always believe that if I could do it, you can do it. Everybody can. I really have that. And I feel I'm more eye level. I don't want to be the guru or the teacher. In meditation, um, if I go back and I don't know how to answer that, I need to just tap into it. Wasn't comfortable sitting until sitting became my most loving place I wanted to be. And I remember I was sitting and sitting because it's like resting in a way, resting, and then you can download information. And again, I'm very afraid to say that because I don't. Again, some teachers that told me too much about meditation, it was like a trap. So I'm usually don't say, but I can trust and say that now that, you can download information about people, about all kind of things, about life. And I remember my teacher came to me and says, okay, it's enough of meditation. Stop sitting. And I said, no, no, leave me alone. I remember this moment. Leave me alone. At last I'm like, I suffered a lot. And it's not theoretical. I really, really
I'm sure you
suffered.
did. I'm sure
No,
you did.
I'm
Yeah.
not, I cannot know how to describe that. It was real, okay, for many years. So when I got to this point, I said, just leave me alone. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to move.
It's yeah. I
Uh,
can relate. It's that state of just being and just drifting, and you're like, oh yeah, not being in it. It's like bypassing the human experience. I guess it's just yeah. I love it.
and I had a crossroad because I could took him. I could take. I'm a Dharma teacher. I could take a monastery, right? Become a Zen master, and just not having a family and living on the top of the hill. And student comes to me, um, and I thought to do that. I didn't think I have. I didn't want kids for many years, but then suddenly my body wanted baby. Yeah, and it
Isn't it
changed
interesting?
everything.
Isn't it
Yes,
interesting?
yeah. And so I went into the coming into back to the life, finding a husband, relocating. Like, I really located a husband. I chose,
Love
yeah,
it.
yeah, and having two kids. But all the years I told my mom, listen, you will not get grandkids from me. Because I was happy. I said it cannot be better than that. I don't want to touch. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a timing to stuff too, right? There's a and again in terms of how you receive messages, A lot of people will say, I don't receive messages, I don't see things. And I would always recommend start with your intuition. What are you feeling? If you switch from I think to I feel, how do you feel about something? And it's like if you're getting a message, intuitive message, normally it's light, it comes in first, has no emotion. What happens then is your ego takes over. So if you want to start to receive more messages, trust your intuition.
Beautiful,
And
beautiful.
then start
And
from
and
there and then build from there, right?
and there are signs everywhere. There are signs
Yeah.
also from the universe everywhere. And don't expect, if you have a decision to take, you don't know when the answer will come. This is the expectations, right? You send a question to the world and to yourself, and there is a search engine, inside and outside, and you don't know when. And this is like
Yeah. Or how?
not to be frustrated of I'm not getting that, because we don't know when we cannot control, and how
Yeah.
we cannot control. But yeah, so this is also something I learned, a lot of patience.
Yeah. It is your expectations, because sometimes your expectations, wait, I've asked a question, I haven't received an answer. But sometimes it's also how are you expecting to receive the answer? Because the answer can come from listening to a podcast. It can come from, kind of having a conversation with a friend. It can come from your dreams. There's so many different ways. And I do feel like our guides have a sense of humor and they like to keep us on our toes. And sometimes the messages and the answers come in the most random space. And it's just being open, letting go of your expectations of how life should look and being open to magic, for me, is a big part of this phase, a big part of what we're going through at this time. And I feel like it's, I like to remind people that we chose to be here.
Beautiful.
Whatever the planet is going through, as a soul, we chose to be here. The human may be kicking and shouting because there's so much happening, and we chose to heal so much karma, our personal and ancestral, which is why we're feeling things at such an extreme level. But if we remind ourselves that everything in the external world is a result of something in our internal world, and that everybody around us is playing the roles that we asked them to play, which means that everything in our world is serving us in some kind of way. And it's hard, right? If somebody's causing you pain, it's like, why would you pick that person? You have a soul contract to experience something. And the question to always ask is my soul contract complete? Because pain is inevitable, right? We're here to experience pain. It helps us to expand. You talked about it earlier. But suffering is optional.
You're not to be. What I hear from your words is also not to be a victim. I think it's very hard to grow if you're a victim or if you are stubborn. There are two things that will prevent you from. I was stubborn, but I worked on that, but not a victim, because then we are not victims. Like you said it so beautifully. I don't want to repeat it. It's all happening for a reason, and sometimes we don't
Yeah,
see it yet. And then you are going with the head up, no matter what. And I used to work with very hard stories of people that lost kids and like the worst things and pains, because I'm not pity. I don't have pity in a way of, oh, poor you. It's more like, let's, looking with a lot of love, a lot and compassion, and but also let's look at it together from different angles, because and
yeah.
to grow from it. So this is why I'm able to hold a lot of other people pain. Yeah.
So beautiful. So I know we're going to close with a meditation. And I'm excited for that meditation. Before we get there, I'd love for you to talk about what you do, what's coming up for you, and how people can reach out and work with you.
Yes, my website is priyaglikman.com. It's easy. You can find everything there. My LinkedIn, my Instagram, my courses, everything that I offer for, I do every 2 weeks, I give a free master class in different topics, trying to help as much as possible.
Beautiful.
You can find everything there.
So I'll include that in the show notes. And before we go to your meditation, is there any final bits of wisdom that you would like to share with us?
Yes, I want to say to everyone, you can do it. You can really do it. If I did it, you can. The only thing is to learn to trust your intuition, to trust yourself, and to clean the doubt. And another thing I want to say, you are not confused. Nobody is confused. Confusion, it means you have two different voices inside and you didn't take a decision yet. And the decision will come. So a lot of patience, there are a lot of teachers and signs around us. And don't forget to see the beauty, because there is a lot of darkness in the world, and now and not only now, but there is a lot of beauty as well. And then you can recharge yourself, with the small moments of connection and meditation.
So beautiful. There is a lot of pain, a lot of beauty in the world. Choosing to see the beauty is a choice. It's also a muscle, right? The more that you do it, the more that you see it. So thank you for those wise words. And thank you for agreeing to being a guest. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. You have a powerful voice and a powerful message. And, I've told my listeners, if your voice resonates, if Priya's voice resonates, reach out. And she's going to take us through a guided meditation. We're going to finish with that meditation, and then we're going to close, because we both felt it's a beautiful way to finish this episode. So, Priya, I'm going to start the music. I'm going to hand over to you. Or actually, I'm going to let you explain the meditation. Then when you're ready, I'll start the music and take us through. I'll leave it totally up to you. And before you start, I'm sending so much love and light out to everybody. Really, truly feel the love that came from this episode. Allow yourself to feel the love of the universe. This really is a time to fall in love with you. And I'm sending you so much love and light. Thank you for your support, your love, your presence. And Priya, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you so much. I also want to thank you for doing this podcast, for your love and light, I feel really a lot of connection to you. And thank you for your role in this life. I appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
And now you can take a deep breath in and out. And just close your eyes. You can sit comfortably wherever you are. Relax your shoulders. Release your hands. The hands can be one on top of the other, thumb touching gently, or just resting, facing up. Head is up, chin is in. Let's take another deep breath and relax your shoulders. Sitting peacefully. Relax your arms, your belly, your face. Breathing naturally. No need to breathe so much. Meditation is like a vacation where you can rest, open up, and listen. Accumulation of moments of meditation can change the way you breathe, makes you slow down, less tension in the body. Let me guide you into meditation, which will take you inside to find yourself, to become one. Listen to my voice, to the sounds. If the mind is coming, not now, coming back to the moment. In Zen meditation, we do nothing. Only letting go. All the sounds are helping us to be present. Also those sounds. There is no good or bad sounds. Everything is all right. In Zen meditation, we do nothing. We are not counting breath, nor reciting a mantra. For the mind, it's difficult to do nothing. The meditation will strip you from so many things rushing in your mind and will leave you empty, the closest to the source that can be. Sounds. What do you hear now? Observing your breath, breathing in and out, the sensation in your chest, in your belly. Accumulating such moments, and something will happen in your system. Some people live their whole life without even one moment of meditation. So busy and always with negativity, much more than beauty. Listen, be attentive. What do you hear now? Birds, a car passing by, being present. And if you're really quiet, you can feel your heartbeats. In the journey of life, sometimes it's good to take a break, climb to the top of the mountain, sit and close your eyes. Long journeys waiting ahead of you. You did a long journey already until now. But sometimes it is necessary to stop, relax, and let go. A smile will help. Allow yourself to enjoy. Allow yourself to rest just for a little while. Everything is all right as you are right now. You may open your eyes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.